Hello everybody, today we're doing a video for GTA Car Kits in a 2015 Audi A7, and today we're going to show you how to install our Apple CarPlay and Android Auto kit. As you can see, it's already been installed into this car. It's been paired to iPhone wirelessly. You can also pair it to your Android phone wirelessly. The entire system gets controlled with the original controls here in the middle. You're also able to do next track. In order to switch to the original Audi system, you can just press and hold the back button. So you'll not lose any functionality from your system. You just get an extra feature that you didn't have before. The original cameras will still work the same way. You're going to use the original microphone for phone calls and Siri and Google Assistant. The original Bluetooth sound source from this car will be used as a source for CarPlay and AndroidAuto for music. You're also able to do Siri and Google Assistant, and you can launch it from the steering wheel button here. And now we're going to show you how to install it into this car. So the tools you're going to need is a panel removal tool, and this is an 8mm socket with this small extension, and of course you're going to need our product. So we're going to begin the installation with using our panel removal tool. Before we start removing everything here, we're going to make sure to move the shifter all the way down, as you see here, and we put our parking brake on. And now we can use our panel removal tool to remove this HVAC panel. So we'll start by inserting the tool here on the passenger side to unclip it. Same on the driver's side. And then to remove it, you have to lift it up and pull it out because it has this clip at the back. So if you don't lift up the panel, it will not come out. And right away here at the back, we're going to disconnect this connection. So there's a red locking clip underneath. So you have to unlock that and then press a clip underneath that to disconnect it. So this is the locking clip. So now underneath the head unit here, you're going to see this 8mm bolt right in the middle, and that's the one we're going to remove. So we're going to use our 8mm socket with an extension. And something to note about this particular bolt is that we're going to remove another 6 bolts that hold the glove box. They're going to look the same, but they're going to be longer. So you're only going to have this one shorter bolt. It's still going to be an 8mm. And this is the one that holds the head unit in place. So make sure to put it back at the right spot. Now we can pull the head unit out. So we're going to grab it underneath. And we're going to get about to this point, and it will not go any further because there are 2 connections underneath that we need to disconnect. So we're going to first disconnect the one closer to the passenger side. So I'm going to press the clip in. There you go. So the clip that I was pressing is right here. As you can see where I'm pressing with my nail. Then there's another one closer to the driver, and that one has similar clip. Now we can pull the stereo all the way out, and when you're pulling it out, make sure that you're careful that all of these original wires are not going up and do not get caught over here on the sharp plastic of the dashboard, because we've seen that happen before. So now you can pull the stereo out. We're going to first disconnect the video cable. We're going to press the clip underneath it, and then we're going to use our panel removal tool in order to wiggle it out. There you go. And then the quad lock harness, you're going to press on the clip here and unlock it and disconnect it. And at this point, you're going to rest the radio closer to the driver, but over here, as you can see, there's a lot of sharp metal. So we're going to use a microfiber cloth to wrap this up so we can rest it and not scratch any of the dashboard. So there's no space to hide our module behind the stereo, so we need to remove the glove box, and thankfully on this car it's very easy to remove it. So you need to remove 3 bolts on the inside. So there's 1, 2, and 3. And then there's going to be 3 bolts underneath the glove box. So first we'll use our 8mm socket and remove the 3 bolts that are inside the glove box. So now we can remove the 3 bolts underneath the glove box. There's 1 right here, 1 in the middle, and 1 right there. So we'll use our 8mm socket and remove all 3 of them. And the last thing that holds this glove box in place is this side panel. So we're going to use our panel tool to unclip this, and then we can now drop down the glove box. So this way we're able to feed the wires to our module through here, through that opening, and we're going to hide our module right here in this space. We will now show you what comes in the kit and everything that we're going to install today. So you have your main module, then this is your main harness that we're going to plug in at the back of the head unit. This end of the wiring harness will go at the back of the glove box. This is our second harness for the HVAC panel. This is the video cables. So as you can see, there's these kind of two ends. So this main end will go to the module. These two will be at the back of the head unit. You also have your wireless antenna. And this is your USB for wired CarPlay, wired AndroidAuto, and to do updates to our module. So we'll start doing our connections at the back of the head unit. So this is the original quad lock harness that we disconnected, and this is the female end of our harness. So this is where it's going to plug into. So make sure that the lock is unlocked, and then you insert it almost all the way in, and only then you lock it in place. So this is the male end of our harness, which we now have to plug in to the back of the head unit. Make sure that the lock is unlocked. You have to line it up straight, and again, put it all the way in, and then you lock it in place. So this is the video wire. So we already disconnected the original gray wire. So this will go into the female end of our harness. This male end will go into the gray connection here. This end we have to wire to the back of the glove box, and these module connections will have to go to the back of the glove box. So this is the second harness for the HVAC panel. So this is the connector that we removed from there originally. So this will plug in into the female end of our harness. You plug it in here, you lock the clip in place, and then this will go to the back of the HVAC panel. And then you see here, it has this small little wire. So it will plug in to our harness here, but we will route it separately. So as you can see, there's an opening here. This is where we're going to route that cable, and we're going to catch it behind the glove box. So here's that small cable. So we're just going to pull it through. So now we will also route these other cables. So the video cable, we will route through the upper opening here. The same thing, I'll catch it at the back, and I'm going to bring it out here. And now this is the main harness. There you go. And before you forget, make sure to connect the harness from the HVAC panel into the main harness here. So now you should end up with the harness cable with these two connections. This is the video cable. So main thing with this car when you're putting everything back is that the head unit has enough space to go back in, and it might not have space because of this extra quad lock harness. So what you should do is you need to hide it and make sure that it's not in the way of the head unit, and there's space right here. So that's, as you can see, there's this plastic piece that surrounds the stereo, and then behind it there's this opening. So it's closer to the driver's side. So that's when you need to stick your quad lock harness so that it's not in the way for the stereo to go back in. So you're going to maneuver all the wires, move the wires around so you can hide that quad lock down there. So we'll show you how the harness is supposed to be. So as you can see, it's all the way back there, and you're supposed to push it down. So now we're gonna try to put the stereo back in. Be careful that none of the wires are left behind. Then you're gonna push it in. As you can see, it goes all the way in, but for now we're not gonna put back the bolt because we gotta still test everything. And make sure not to forget to connect these two connections right underneath the head unit here. There's one, that's the second one. And then this is the harness that we installed for the HVAC panel. We'll plug this back in also. And when you're putting this back, you're just gonna put the harness here in that opening underneath, and this way you can put the panel back. But for now we're just gonna leave it like this because we're still gonna do all the connections to the module and test everything. So we're gonna start doing some connections to our module. So these are the wires that we have behind the glove box already. So this is the main power harness wires. This is the video cable. So everything is plug and play. The module will come preset with the switches for your particular Audi, so do not change them. And then the last two things that you need to connect is the wireless antenna, which looks like this. So it's the same thing, it just plugs in here. And then this is the USB cable. So the wireless antenna, your option is to mount it right on top of the glove box underneath this insulation here. The USB cable, you can either make a hole into the glove box and route it there, or you can simply run it to the side. So it rests right here to the side of the glove box, so it's not in the way of anything, and that way you don't need to drill any holes. So as we mentioned before, we're going to hide our module right there. There's a good spot and it's perfect to hide it there. So we'll just take the module and put it in there. Make sure that you don't accidentally switch any of the switches while you're putting it in there. And take your time, make sure to put the wires neatly. And then once you put everything in there, the only things you should end up with is the USB cable and the antenna. So the antenna, we said, we're going to mount here on top of the glove box. It's a nice spot for it. And then the USB cable, we're going to drop here to the side. And then we're carefully going to start putting the glove box back. So we'll just clip it in. The cable is going to be like that to make it even shorter. And then we're going to put in 1 or 2 bolts in. So we just also reinstalled 1 bolt right here in the middle, so that way the glove box holds. And right now we're going to test everything before we bolt down everything for the final time. So we're going to test the system with the iPhone, and we're going to test it by the wire. Before you plug it in, you're going to make sure that the original Audi system Bluetooth sound source is selected and it's paired to the phone that you're going to test with. So we're going to test by the wire, but you can also use the system wirelessly with both Apple and Android. So once you connect it, you're going to make sure that it charges. So you're going to test the controls to make sure that they're working, and they are. You're going to test your music to make sure that you're getting sound through your original Bluetooth sound source. You can also test the rear view camera to make sure that it goes on once you put the car into reverse. So everything seems to be working. So now we're going to assemble everything back. So now we can reinstall the bolt that holds the head unit in place, and as you remember, this is the short one compared to all the other ones that you removed from this car. So we're going to push the head unit into place, and now we can clip this HVAC panel back in its place. So during testing, we already reinstalled 1 bolt back, so now we're going to reinstall the other 2 that are inside the glove box. So now we're installing the bolts underneath the glove box. When reinstalling this panel, make sure that this edge goes in first. So the installation has been completed. We paired our iPhone wirelessly to the system. You can pair your Android phone wirelessly to the system. Now you can enjoy this extra feature that you didn't have before in your Audi. Again, this was a video for GTA Car Kits. I hope you liked it, and we'll see you next time.